Hi there, my name is Oliver Boucher, and this is my oral presentation on William Shakespeare, an English playwright, poet, and actor from my English 11 course at Oak Bay High. I will briefly discuss Shakespeare's life and legacy, but being that his life was one of many fascinating endeavors, I will be focusing on the information that helps define his great stature concerning his gift for doing incredible things with the English language. Shakespeare wrote many plays and sonnets throughout his lifetime, and I will be providing an analysis of a significant passage from the play Macbeth. I will make connections within the passage to the theme of ambition, a central driving force in the play, and I will give a context to establish the importance of this passage in the story. Today, Shakespeare's plays are very popular and constantly studied and reinterpreted in performances with diverse cultures and political contexts. The renowned appeal of his writing comes from the depth and realness of his characters and plots, which use a wide range of emotions to live out incredible conflicts derived from their origins in Elizabethan England. Shakespeare was well respected for his plays in his time throughout the late 16th and early 17th centuries, but was not credited for his writing genius until the 19th century, when he gained the reputation of one of the greatest dramatic writers of all time. Shakespeare was a poet which brought countless literary devices to his work, such as iambic pentameter, figurative language, and equivocation. This makes his work much more difficult to understand in modern times, but in turn contributes an enormous portion of the power in his language. Shakespeare's playing group, the Lord Chamberlain's Men, built a theatre in London in 1599 known as the Globe Theatre. This is where many of Shakespeare's greatest plays were performed. The theatre had no roof and hosted plays in the afternoons as to allow the most light in as possible. Attending the theatre was very much driven by the hierarchical display of social status. The rich citizens would be more comfortable, more well-dressed, and have better seats than the poor. Different from today's theatre culture, the audience would make a hissing sound rather than a booing sound. The set changes in the play were spoken aloud due to the lack of more than one set for the stage, and the actors were all male, no matter the role. William Shakespeare's influence extends from today's theatre and literature to modern movies and the English language itself. The extension of his impact on history is the reason for why we regard him as the greatest writer in the history of the English language. I selected this passage because it illustrates the theme of ambition in the play Macbeth. It shows how Macbeth's ambition to actually kill Duncan is very frail and hesitant, therefore it's very easy to question. How could he possibly work up the nerve to really do it? He is very pronounced in his reasons to not perform the murder, yet it is still clear that if he could take Duncan's position as king, he would. This leaves ample opportunity for Lady Macbeth, with her own twisted ambition, to devise a scheme using Macbeth as a pawn. As much as Macbeth wants to be king, he doesn't want it so bad that he would kill his noble friend without hesitation. Prior to this passage, Macbeth had no ambition to take Duncan's spot on the throne until he was given the position of Thane of Cawdor and the prediction to be king by a group of witches who were somehow very accurate in forecasting his new post. Without these bizarre episodes, there is no reason for Macbeth to ever be contemplating the murder or mulling over his ambition. In the passage I selected from Act 1, Scene 7, Macbeth is speaking to himself as a soliloquy while he ponders the idea of filling King Duncan's shoes. He is in his castle, where Duncan is staying the night, and before the focus lands on Macbeth's soliloquy, a butler and various servants carry utensils and dishes of food across the stage. The king staying in his castle provides a fantastic opportunity for Macbeth to think about what he'd like to accomplish by killing Duncan, yet he still finds several very sound and logical reasons why he should not do it. He explains to himself that he is his kinsman, his subject, and his host, meaning he would be betraying Duncan in all of these roles. Furthermore, he asserts that Duncan hath been so clear in his great office that his virtues will plead like angels, meaning that he is a noble leader and a good king. While Macbeth is busy thinking of how he'd perform the murder with no hesitation, if there were sure to be no consequences or complications after, Lady Macbeth is full of vaulting ambition and is about to have her loyal, misguided husband commit the murder for her. Macbeth's meek ambition develops significantly once he has successfully killed the king. He becomes much more fortified in his thinking and his cruel decision-making as a result of gaining more power. Further contrast between the two characters' ambitions is formed when Lady Macbeth becomes less fortified in her ambition as Macbeth gains the crown. This is exceptionally notable because before the king was assassinated, she was the one that put the affairs in motion. With the murder completed, Macbeth no longer questions the repercussions of his actions as he does so intently in the passage. He loses the self-doubt concerning the effects of his behavior, like when he says that but this blow might be the be-all and the end-all, meaning that he wonders if the bloodshed will be all that is required and end-all that he must go through to be king. He expresses a similar idea when he states in the passage that he would surely kill Duncan if the assassination could trammel up the consequence. In saying this, he implies that he wishes that the act of the assassination could trammel or catch the consequences, in other words, prevent certain aftermath. In closing, William Shakespeare, or the English national poet, was an exceptional dramatist that contributed to the development of the understanding of the English language we have today. His work Macbeth is a play that dramatizes the profound effects of political ambition on those who seek power and encompasses many fascinating plot elements, characters, and styles of writing that will continue to be studied for years to come. Thank you for listening, and I hope you've enjoyed my presentation.